Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, in our last class, we completed segment 1, Introduction to GST, and look into the practice manual discussion related to this. So, please take your practice manual book. In that segment 1, look into the first MCQs. Various taxes have been subsumed in GST to make one nation, one tax, one market for consumers. Out of the following, determine which taxes have been subsumed in GST. Which is subsumed in GST? So, basic customs duty subsumed or not subsumed? Not subsumed. And taxes on lottery, even entertainment tax, these two got subsumed into GST. Is it clear? Even entertainment tax also got subsumed, but entertainment tax levied by state government subsumed. Which is not subsumed? Local authority. Entertainment tax levied by local authority not subsumed, but it is entertainment tax levied by state government, so that got subsumed. So, answer is option C, 1, 2 and 3. Then alcoholic liquor for human consumption is subject to other state excise duties payable on alcoholic liquor? Yes. Central sales tax and VAT is also payable on alcoholic liquor? Yes. So, the answer is option C, both A and B. Then next descriptive question, differentiate between direct and indirect tax. Already I told you that. Enumerate major direct and indirect taxes. What are the major direct and indirect taxes? Direct tax, only one we have, income tax. Indirect taxes, major that we have is customs and GST. Then write a short note on various lists provided under 7th schedule to the Constitution of India. So, 7th schedule to the Constitution has 3 lists. What are those 3 lists? Union list, state list and concurrent list. Union list means where union, that is central government, is having power to make law. State list means where state government is having power to make law. Concurrent list means where both central government and state government is having power to make law. That is about these 3 lists. Then discuss the functions of the common GST portal. What are the various functions of common portal? What is common portal means? GST network. So, GST network is basically an entity that provides information technology infrastructure for implementation of GST, and it facilitates between whom? Central government, state government, taxpayers and other stakeholders for implementation of GST. What functions they do? We have seen one chart. It facilitates registration, then payment of taxes, then filing of returns, and then matching of ITC, then reports to the government. So, these are the various functions of GST network that we need to write. Then GST is a simplified tax structure. Justify the statement. So, why it is a simplified tax structure? Because compared to earlier indirect tax system, in GST we don't have multiple taxes. So, underline that, reduction in multiplicity of taxes. Reduction in multiplicity of taxes. Then uniformity in tax structure. Why uniformity in tax structure? So, whether the product you are purchasing in Tamil Nadu or Jammu and Kashmir or in Kerala, the rate is same. But previously, different state governments used to have different rates on the same product. For example, you take wheat. On wheat, so different states used to have different rates. Some states used to have 5%, some states used to have 4%, some states used to have 8.5%, like that, and all different rates will be there. But now we have uniform tax structure across the country. Even uniformity in the procedures also. So, uniformity in the laws, procedures. So, why? Because previously VAT was under state government. So, different state governments will follow different methods, process, return filing dates. Some states will say you file return on a quarterly basis. Some states will say you file return on a half yearly basis. Some states will say monthly basis. Like that, different processes is there. And when the same person was having business in multiple states, he used to follow different processes for different states. But now, wherever you are having business, the methodology, the procedure is same, the compliance will be same. So because of these three, what happens is that the tax structure, GST is called as a simplified tax structure. So what are the 3 points that you need to remember? Reduction in multiplicity of taxes. Number 2, uniformity in the tax structure. Number 3, uniformity in the laws and procedures. Then next, list the advantages that GST accrues to the trade and industry. What advantages that it will give? What is a major advantage that we have in GST? Input tax credit. What is it, input tax credit? Tax paid at the earlier stage can be taken as set off against the tax payable at a later stage, because of which, so there will be reduction in purchase cost, correct? So wider coverage of input tax credit. Then subsuming several central and state taxes. Okay. Then next, transparent and complete chain of set-offs, and even better tax compliance. These are the advantages. Wider coverage of ITC means input tax credit. Second, subsuming several central and state taxes, because GST is by subsuming various taxes. And then transparent and complete chain of credits. Why? We discussed dealer A will pay, dealer B will take credit, again dealer B so will set off. So dealer B, when he raises invoice to dealer C will take it. Is like that entire chain. Effectively GST is payable only on the value addition. Every person, how much value addition they are making. If you remember, we discussed this example. Dealer A will sell to dealer B for 100. Dealer B will make a profit margin of 50 and sell at 150, and dealer C will be selling at 180, 30 rupees he will be adding. Do you remember the discussion? In that case, effectively they are paying GST on what? Only on the value addition. So dealer A will pay GST on 10 rupees, dealer B will pay GST on 5 rupees, and dealer C will pay GST only on 3 rupees. So depending upon their value addition only they will be paying. So that is this complete chain of set-offs. And better tax compliance. So better tax compliance means what are the procedures to be followed by a registered person. So that is tax compliance. Then second, mitigation of ill effects of cascading. Underline that. What is cascading? I told you already. Tax on tax. In GST we don't have that problem. Tax on tax problem is not there because the credit is available. Previously we used to have, while computing sales tax, we used to add the excise duty, but now excise duty, sales tax, everything is merged into GST. So cascading effect of taxes will not be there. Then benefits to small traders and entrepreneurs. In GST there is something called as threshold limit for registration, which means only when you cross a particular turnover limit you are required to register and pay GST. So that threshold limit is basically 20 lakhs. Okay. So if there is a small trader whose turnover is just 18 lakhs or 15 lakhs, is he required to register and pay GST? No. So small restaurants, small shops, etc., they are not at all covered under the ambit of GST. So this is the benefit. Even suppose if they cross the 20 lakhs, but their turnover is somewhere like 1 crore, 1.5 crore and all, they are eligible for something called as composition scheme. They need to pay tax, but they are not required to pay the regular rates of tax. Rather, they will be paying tax at the reduced rates like 1%, 5%, like that they will be paying, when the regular rate is somewhere like 12%, 18% or 28%, but they will not pay that much. So these are the benefits given to the small traders and entrepreneurs. Okay. So what are the benefits? First, registration. So increase the threshold for GST, registration, and then composition scheme. These are the two benefits they are giving. Threshold means what? Limit. Threshold means limit, after crossing which they need to register. Understood? So these points, these highlighted points covering, you need to write the answer if you get a question, theory question. Then next, List the special category states as prescribed in Article 279 of the Constitution. I told you. What are those states? MMTN, ASAM, HUJ. Do you remember 11 states? 11 states are called as special category states. What is MMTN? Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Nagaland. Then A, Assam, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya. These are northeastern states. Plus HUJ, H for Himachal Pradesh, U for Uttarakhand. Then J, Jammu and Kashmir. Then next, list any 6 state levies which are subsumed in GST. You tell me. What we have is only 6. Not any 6. What we have is only 6. What are they? VAT, very good. Luxury tax, entertainment tax, 3 more. Lottery betting tax, luxury tax said. I told you, while purchasing we need to pay some tax, octroi, purchase tax, advertisement tax. So these are the 6 indirect taxes levied by state government that got subsumed into GST. That is what we need to write for this. Already they tested this question for 3 marks. Okay. Then next, list any 4 central levies which are subsumed in GST. Come on. Central excise duty, good. CST, central sales tax, service tax. In customs, CVD and SAD, countervailing duty and special additional duty. Then next, list some of the benefits that GST may accrue to the economy. Because of GST, what are the advantages to the economy, that is to the country? So, creation of unified national market. Okay. So, unified national market means what? That's what already I told you. Across the country, the rate is going to be same. So, when the rate is going to be the same, not necessary that we need to go and purchase in the other state where the price is less, because the prices is not going to vary. It is only the additional cost if you are incurring if you are purchasing from the other state. Example, petrol you take today. Petrol price is high in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka it is less. You know what lorry people will do? They go to the border of Karnataka, they fill the fuel and they will be going to any other area. Even though their route is not touching Karnataka, but they ensure that they will be planning their route in Karnataka. Reason being, so there they can fill the fuel and they will be saving, because close to like 5 to 6 rupees if you save for 1 liter also. So like it's a huge difference that it makes for them. Okay. So this kind of problem is not there with respect to all goods. Previously I remember lot of people from Andhra, they used to come to Tamil Nadu to buy the rice and go. And rice in Tamil Nadu was not having any VAT thanks to Karunanidhi. So Kalingar Karunanidhi at that time, in every state levied VAT on rice. He said, no, why rice there should be tax rate. So he abolished the tax on rice. At that time, people from Karnataka, people from Andhra, these border areas and all will be there now. They used to come and they used to buy the rice and they used to transport. And in check post and a lot of tax officers, that state tax officers will be blocking this, because what happens, had they purchased it in their state, that state will get the revenue. If they are coming here and purchasing and going, their state will not get the revenue. But these kind of issues and all will not be there now, because there is a creation of unified national market. Then boost to Make in India initiative. How boost to Make in India initiative? That is, this is humbug only. Just because GST is there and it is a transparent tax system, they are telling people from across the globe will be coming to India and they will start manufacturing in India. So I don't know why because of the GST they will be doing it. So not necessary. Okay, just because they want to give, they gave this point. Then boost to investments, exports and employment. So exports, yes, For exports, they have given lot of benefits. Already we discussed in yesterday's class. What is that? Refund to make the burden zero. So two options are available: pay IGST, get refund of that IGST, or don't pay IGST, get refund of ITC. This kind of benefits and all. Not only this, many benefits are given to the exporters. So that will encourage the exports. And even when exports are encouraged, so definitely people will be willing to start the export business, manufacturing and exports. That will in turn give employment to the various people. Okay, that is this. Then next, explain with the help of examples how a particular transaction of goods and services is taxed simultaneously under central tax and state tax. So generally you can write. So on the common tax base, both central government and state government is required to pay GST. For example, if the value of a product is 1000 rupees and the rate of GST is 18%, CGST will be 9%. So 1000 into 9% will be, how much? 90. And SGST will be 90. Like that you can write the example. But this will not be tested and all. And the CGST will go to central government and SGST will go to the state government. Why was the need to amend the Constitution of India before introducing the GST? I told you already this. Why a constitution amendment was required for bringing GST? In GST there is simultaneous levy by both central government and state government, which means GST will now come in both union list as well as state list. Previously certain matters was only in union list, certain matters were in state list. Now it should be common for both union list and state list, for which they need to amend the 7th schedule to the constitution. That's why they made a constitution amendment and then they brought in the GST law. Is it clear? So please go through that, just quickly read it once. And in which year constitution amendment done? 2016. 17 is GST law came. 16 Amendment Act, Constitution Amendment Act. Bill was presented in 2014. I asked you to highlight certain points now, connecting that you need to write. And one more thing that you need to remember is Article 246A of the Constitution. Article 246A of the Constitution introduced, thereby empowered the center and state to simultaneously levy and collect GST, and Constitution 101st Amendment Act 2016. Just quickly go through that answer. Okay, you read it? So first paragraph says what has happened in the past, already we know. So central government was levying excise duty on manufacture, state government was levying sales tax on sales, CST, even though levied by central government, was collected by state government, service tax was fully levied by the central government. But now when all these things got merged, both central government and state government will levy. That's the reason why there is a need of amendment in the Constitution, and the Constitution Amendment Act came. And Article 246A of the Constitution gives the power to both CG and SG to simultaneously levy and collect the taxes. Okay. Then next, GST is a destination based tax on consumption of goods or service or both. Discuss the validity of the statement. Why GST is called as a destination based consumption tax? I gave you the explanation. Whenever there is an interstate sale, the IGST which is collected by the central government, 50% retained by them, and the remaining 50% will be given to the consuming state based on place of supply. And previously the tax was going to the originating state. Now the tax is going to the consuming state. So wherever the goods are consumed or service are consumed, in that state it is going. So that's why GST is called as a destination based consumption tax. Understood? Then next, question number 14, mark it as important. Mark question number 14 as important. Discuss the leviability of GST or otherwise on the following. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Is there a GST on that? No, it is excluded from the ambit of GST. However, what are the existing duties? State excise duty on manufacture, CST and VAT on sale of liquor is applicable. Then next, petroleum, crude, diesel, petrol, aviation, turbine fuel and natural gas. Not applicable. It is temporarily excluded from the ambit of GST. As and when GST Council decides, it will come into the ambit of GST. Until that point of time, on manufacture we need to pay central excise duty, on sale we need to pay either CST or VAT. Next, tobacco. GST is applicable. Also, central excise duty is applicable on manufacture of tobacco. Then opium, Indian hemp, other narcotic drugs and narcotics. What about this? GST applicable or not applicable? Applicable. So is it alcoholic liquor for human consumption? No, it is not alcoholic liquor for human consumption. And these are basically used in the medicinal preparations. This opium, Indian hemp and other narcotic drugs and narcotics basically used in medicines. Example, pregnant women after the C-section, they will have a severe pain. They give anesthesia and they cut. So, around 6 layers they will cut. 6 layers they cut in the belly to reach the kid. 6 layers. And that many cuts, it's a deep cut. And after the C-section, when the baby comes, the mother only knows the kind of pain that she will undergo. And that pain she cannot tolerate. For the 1 month, the pain will be there, wherein they consume lots of painkillers. And these painkillers contains these drugs. And not only them, mostly for those people who undergo some operations, some kind of like say fatal accidents will happen, operations, then this fire accident, skin and all will burn. For them they use painkillers that contains a high dosage of these drugs, because they should forget the pain. When they will forget the pain, if they consume these drugs only, they will forget the pain and they will sleep. That's the reason why if you see all these people, after consuming this much of drugs, their obesity levels will increase. The moment they undergo this treatment and all, by the time the treatment is completed, completely their body and all will be shaped out. They will not be active. They will not be able to be active because of this drugs effect. Okay. And these drugs, when a normal person consumes, so that is going to attack their brain severely. Okay. So that's why these are not actually sold. It will be sold only for the pharmaceutical companies, and on this GST is applicable. I told you cough syrup containing alcohol, GST applicable, like that on this GST applicable. And even the state excise duty is also applicable on this, because state excise duty is applicable not only on alcohol, even on this opium, Indian hemp, narcotic drugs. You can underline the last line. So anyhow, these are leviable to GST as well as state excise duties. These are subject to GST, that we know. Even state excise duty is also payable, because state excise duty not got subsumed in GST, na? It is outside the ambit of GST. Only central excise duty got subsumed into GST. Under GST, only value addition is taxed and the burden of tax is to be borne by the final consumer. Examine the validity of the statement. Is the statement valid or not? Yes, just now I told you. So when one person pays the tax, recovers it from the next person can take ITC and he need to pay GST only on his value addition. Like that, every person involved in the transaction will pay GST on the value addition, and the entire burden will go to the ultimate consumer. So those who are consuming the goods or services, they will bear the burden of GST. Okay. For example, if I am purchasing this iPad for taking the classes, I pay GST. But is the burden on me? No, I'll take it as credit. In turn, I am taking classes means I am collecting fees. So on the fees there is GST. So which means I passed on the burden to you. You understood or not? So literally whatever taxes that I pay need not be a burden on me. In turn, I am going to shift it to the next person. But who is going to bear the burden? The ultimate consumer. Okay, that's true. The statement is valid. Which are the commodities which have been kept outside the purview of GST? Examine the status of taxation of such commodities after introduction of GST. What are the commodities kept outside the purview of GST? Non-taxable supplies, what are they? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption and petroleum products. Crude oil, petrol, high-speed diesel, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel, these are all this. Then, a dual GST has been implemented in India. Elaborate. So, what is dual GST model means? As India is a federal country where both central government and state government is having power and responsibility to do the expenditure to the public. So, therefore, both central government and state government is having power to levy tax on the common tax base. And this dual GST model is adopted in India from two countries, Brazil and Canada. Those points you need to write. Next, discuss Article 269A of the Constitution pertaining to levy and collection of GST on interstate supply. We need to write about this. What is that? In case of interstate supply. What is an interstate supply? If location of supplier and place of supply is in two different states or two different union territories or a state and a union territory, then it will be called as interstate supply. In that case, IGST is levied, and that IGST is levied and collected by central government. And thereafter, depending upon the transaction, if the sale is to an unregistered person, the 50% will be given to the consuming state based on place of supply. If the sale is to a registered person, depending upon how the registered person is going to utilize the ITC for payment of subsequent liability, the revenue will flow. Okay. And who will take care of this IGST settlement? GST Network. GST Network. Then discuss Article 246A, which grants a power to make law with respect to GST. Already we have seen both central government and state government has power. Accordingly, they have brought in this Article 246A of the Constitution. Got it? And in this question number 19 also you mark as important. Question number 19. Already you have marked question number 14, na? Then question number 10. Question number 10. So, these are the three theory questions which might be asked in exam, which are important. Others also just read it once, so that maybe if it is asked, you should not be able to leave that in choice, because what happens is that your last question is a theory question in GST. I told you question 1 will be for 15 marks, one 10 marks question, one 5 marks question. That's purely practical. Then you need to write any 2 questions out of 3 questions, and each question will be 10 marks. In that, subparts will be there, A, B, sometimes A, B, C, like that. Here in the 3 questions, second and third is also practical or situation, case study type, whereas the last one will be theory. Actually, theory is a reserve for us. If any practical question you are unable to attempt because of the time constraint, or because you don't know how to approach that, then we need to use theory. That's why learning theory questions is also advisable. So, for a safer side, you understood. How much ever hero carry weapons and all, gun, etc., but in socks he will carry one small knife, correct? And that small knife is only going to save the hero in the critical moment, correct? In many movies we would have seen in fight scenes like that. So, this is like a small knife, theory. So, whenever required we will use, but we should not ignore. Okay, anyhow one question only, like that you should not ignore, because it saves sometimes. Okay.